Vaccinations, the Biden administration has partnered with Anheuser-Busch to offer America a round of beer if the U.S. reaches herd immunity. The company is going to offer a $5 voucher for the first 200,000 people who visit their website after 70% of America's citizens receive at least one vaccine dose. So, West Michigan craft breweries, not to be outdone, literally said, "Here, hold my beer," and are planning bottomless IPAs at Perrin, a 6-pack of sours from GRBC, or a growler of Vanderbilt cider that tastes like peach pie. You're welcome. Get those vaccines.
Last Tuesday, NASA observed that we were narrowly missed by an asteroid the size of a skyscraper. As it passed Earth, astronomers noted it raised a middle finger towards Earth for orbiting in the fast lane.
Yeah, come on. Don't throw stones, asteroid. A 28-year-old woman in Florida posed as a student at a nearby high school to promote her Instagram account. Frankly, I'm disgusted. I mean, these kids have been through so much this year, trying to, go back to in-person learning for so long, just for this lady to use them for likes and an attempt to reboot the film Never Been Kissed.
An original proof copy of the first Harry Potter book went to auction and sold for £68,000, or over $96,000. Now, because this is a first-run proof copy meant for editors, it featured some interesting typos. For example, the title was misspelled on the back cover. It lists one wand twice in the list of equipment needed for Hogwarts. And most glaringly, on the publisher's imprint page, the author is noted as Joanne Rowling instead of J.K. Rowling. In typical fashion, Rowling tried to backpedal and say that it was actually secretly her name all along.
Yeah, she's always changing things up. However, this news brought up other earlier editions of the book that featured other cut mistakes or details that were removed from length, such as an entire chapter on wizard bathroom etiquette.
And in one version, every instance of wand is Wayne.
Yep. And in another version, they refer to the golden snatch, the surfing hat, her hiney, and HR Puffin stuff.
Dumbledore was listed as Mumblecore, and Voldemort had a different sort of weird nose.
Yeah. And finally, one of the spells in an early edition went, "Ain't no laws when you're Ravenclaws."
President Biden suspended drilling leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge last week. Hundreds of polar bears are now mad as hell that there won't be any more of those tasty treats for snacking on. Yeah. But the good news is they are replacing it with a pipeline of Coca-Cola and blue ices.
Good news. Last Tuesday, Matthew Futterman of the New York Times reported on tennis executives threatening to penalize Naomi Osaka for skipping press conferences with a headline, "Why the Grand Slam tournaments risk playing hardball with Naomi Osaka." Now, in related news, high school teachers everywhere rolled over in their graves for blatant mixed metaphor usage there. I mean, if you ask me, that headline's a swing and a miss. It fumbled at the home plate. Real gutter ball at the 1-yard line. That's an air ball that's not going to move the chains. He just bunted it right into the sand trap, bottom of the ninth, and I've got houses on Baltic for the wedge. All right, sorry, I'll stop dunking on him now.
Last week, the Belgian embassy in South Korea announced that it would recall its ambassador, Peter Lescuvier, after his wife slapped a shop assistant in Seoul. Interestingly, the #1 reported lookup on Google Translate after the incident was how to say Karen in Korean. Why? But however, don't worry too much about them, as this counts as their audition tape for Real Housewives of Foreign Embassies.
Nice. They always bounce back. A Los Angeles toddler has become the youngest American member of Mensa. Membership is strictly limited to those who score at the highest IQ levels. She's only 2 years old, and meanwhile, I'm in my 30s, and I still have to say Wednesday under my breath when I run it. But also, you know, she's going to be offered spots on the shows Kids Solve the Darndest Equations, Toddlers and Trigonometry, and a Doogie Howser reboot, PreMed Preschool.
The risk of the brain-eating amoeba, flesh-eating bacteria, may increase due to climate change, according to medical experts. Now, it all makes sense. Brain-eating amoeba prefer warmer climates.
That makes perfect
That
sense.
makes sense.
Speaking of Old 45, the spokesperson for Donald Trump announced that they were killing his blog from the desk of Donald J. Trump, and we would hear no more of the site. If only we could say the same for the sole contributor of content. Now, in his final post, he made it clear that I just need to take a break from the toxic social media. You know, it's just so toxic. Not that it even matters. Nobody even cares. Thanks for noticing me.
And now for the advice I didn't ask for or need department. Today, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration tweeted, "Don't eat cicadas if you're allergic to seafood," as these insects share a family relation to shrimp and lobsters. This might be the first time in a few years that a government agency has made a recommendation that everyone will actually follow. Meanwhile, Long John Silver's is announcing its new cicada po' boy.
You know, like I was saying, cicadas is the fruit of the insect world. You can barbecue them, you can boil it, bake it, saute them. There's cicada kebabs, cicada creoles, cicada gumbo, pan-fried cicadas, deep-fried cicadas, stir-fried cicadas, pineapple cicadas, lemon cicadas, coconut cicadas, pepper cicadas, cicada soup, cicada stew, cicada salad, cicadas potatoes, cicadas burgers, cicada sandwich. Yeah, that's about it. I know, right? Oh, yeah. This is fun. A woman was fired from her job at a Texas law firm after a video showed her climbing into a spider monkey enclosure at an El Paso, Texas zoo and was feeding the animals hot flaming Cheetos. That's 100% true. Now this just comes back to the old adage, of course. Monkey see, monkey don't climb into the animal enclosure. She was quickly hired by the law firm of Do We Feed 'Em and How? You see they're right there. It's a shoe in there.
Last month during an Allendale Township board meeting, a citizen committee once again proposed removing the Civil War statue from a veteran tribute in their park. Rather than simply eliminating the offending statue, which also includes a small African-American child slave, their proposal this time was to instead replace the statue with something that isn't racist but still might be controversial. And some of these proposals included Robocop arresting Jesus, a child-sized Louis the Laker.
You got Willie Nelson and Snoop Dogg passing a blunt. The Allendale Township won't approve of that for sure. A My Little Pony in a mason jar. Don't ask questions.
There's also Reba McEntire as Colonel Sanders getting the COVID vaccine. The chicks ripping up a picture of Sinead O'Connor ripping up a Pope.
Yep. You got the female Ghostbusters as teenagers getting into STEM. Red voters will hate that. A living statue performer that walks up and just starts reciting the horrors of slavery.
And finally, large block letters reading, "No, we will not grant your PDF."
Yep, they'll hate all of that, so they'll just take the whole thing down. I think that's the plan. There was also controversy at the Memorial Day parade in Georgetown Township last week. Many townsfolk are upset that the anti-vaccine float made its way into the parade lineup to begin with. Even more are angry that instead of throwing candy, they just passed out stickers that said, "Only vaccinated when the Meyer greeter asks me to wear my mask." In protest, though, the marching band played "Hit Me With Your Best Shot" for the entirety of the route.
Ironically, a local church float was right behind them, and their theme was the 10 plagues of Egypt.
Yep, just in time. It's cicada season. When asked for comment, the Mensa toddler said, "These people are fligging doo-doo heads." Grand Rapids, you're welcome. This is NewsFlash.